not working? Oh, it's not working. I don't have all of the automations in place yet. Oops. Normally I have the live stream set up so that when I go live, oop, I just hit my desk with my knee. It is a Friday night. Normally I have everything set up so I hit the go live button and it plays the intro and the countdown, and then after 64 seconds have elapsed, it transitions to this camera. And so the music ended, the countdown finished, and I'm looking at the screen like nothing's happening. All right, I haven't fully automated everything yet. But the good news is I do have a new computer set up. Thank God. I am so happy and relieved to have this here. In fact, listen, do you hear that? Nothing. Dead silence. I don't know if you guys could hear it before anyway, but a lot of times when I was doing live streams, my MacBook was just struggling to keep up and the fans were spinning almost nonstop. And now you could hear a pin drop. And that's great because we're going to do some sewing tonight. Hey friends, welcome back to my sewing room. My name's Becca. If you don't know that already, what are you even doing? Hit that subscribe button and come back next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. I am going to be working on the Layer Cake Custard quilt. This is a free pattern from Fat Quarter Shop that I got 2 weeks ago. I wasn't live last week because I was at retreat with some friends, but I got it 2 weeks ago and I started it here on the live stream. I took it to retreat with me, made a little bit more progress, and then tonight I am going to finish that quilt. I'm going to finish that quilt tonight. But before we jump over, let's say hi to folks that are in the chat. I see my sister is here. Alicia's here. I see Lori. Lori, I got your email, by the way. Auntie L Handmade, I got your email, by the way. I haven't had a chance to reply to that, but thank you. You know what you said. Elizabeth is here. Hello. Doreen is here. Hello. I think I even saw Donna from Handmade by Ying here as well. And I heard a little rumor that somebody has had all of their creative juices fully recharged and is returning to the YouTube airwaves. So if you guys haven't checked out Donna from Handmade by Ying yet, make sure you do so. If you are a content creator and you have a channel here on YouTube that you would like for folks to check out, now is the time to promote yourself. Just do exclamation selfie in the chat. Hopefully the chat bot is working and it'll mention you and it'll drop a link to your channel so people can pop over and check that out if they wish. And if you're watching this on replay, you can still get those links. It does take a little bit of time for the live chat to be available, but after the video has processed and done all the things on YouTube, usually it's the next day, you can watch the video and then pull up the live chat replay and you'll see all of the links and the things that are happening in the chat. All right. All right, Alicia is testing out. Oh, there she goes. She tested it out and the chatbot is working. Hello. We got Donna Alert. She says, hello, evening all. Jonathan says, can't send a link in chat, but it's called Mystery Quilt Shop Hop and it's run by Stitch Central. It ends on Sunday though. Alicia can help you with that link if you... if you need that. I'm just giggling at Donna's comment. She says, I'm good, girl. And yes, I'm back. Good. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. All right. Let's just dive into the project tonight. And as I'm sewing and putting this together, I'll just have a little chat with you about how retreat went last week. So I was really enjoyed my time. So let me show you before we get too far into this, what I have actually gotten accomplished. So the least productive thing that I've gotten accomplished is this. I have all of these big prints. These are just squares from the layer cake that I selected to keep set aside for my big prints because the pattern, if you look at the pattern, it actually shows you that some of them are just going to have that big piece of fabric bordered with your background. And I decided from my layer cake, I was going to pull out the pieces that I liked that had really big prints on them and good contrast with my background fabric. The second thing that I have done, well, I guess the first thing that I've done, I have sewn 3 of the sides onto all of these, but I don't have that 4th one sewn on. So I'm going to need to attach all of those. But to help streamline things, I like to make a stack that I can just sew right through. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to take this whole stack and just put it under the needle and go through 100 layers. What that means is I've got all of my pieces laid here, lined up so that the seam is ready to go and they're already right sides facing. So I can pick up these 2 pieces, take it over, sew, and then pick up the next 2 and sew. I will have to slightly adjust the fabric as I'm going to get the edges lined up together, but I think that is totally fine. Once all of that's done, then I can press everything, but this will allow me to chain piece, and I feel like that's a little bit more efficient. So these have to be sewn tonight. We'll do that. I do have a couple of the blocks already sewn. This is what those big prints are going to look like once the borders are around them. I have 3 of them. By the way, this line was called Kindred from One Canoe 2 for Moda Fabrics. The link for the pattern and the fabric line name are both in the description box, so you can check those out. And then I have all of these ready to go. And so what this was, if you watched 2 weeks ago, I pulled out one layer cake and I cut it into 4 5-inch squares. And then I paired it with 5 5-inch squares from my background fabric, sewed it together as a 9 patch, and then I cut directly down the middle and directly down the middle, and then I added this thin strip first through here and here, and then through all of here. And so all of those are put together. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about some things that I learned in putting this together, because if you haven't started this yet, maybe this is something that can help you. When I pulled the layer cake and I pulled the pattern, I thought to myself, I wasn't going to starch any of my fabric, because I know that if I introduce starch into these pieces, I would lose about 1/8 of an inch on the pieces that go between the selvage. So the width of fabric is 40 inches. If I take a 40-inch piece of fabric from selvage to selvage and I spritz it with moisture, starch, steam, whatever it is I'm looking for, that 40 inches is going to become like 39 7/8 or 39 3/4. Usually it's only 1/8 of an inch that you lose, but you lose that 1/8 of an inch every time it's cut. So if that 40-inch piece was cut 4 times into 10-inch squares, I'm going to lose 1/8 of an inch 4 times. And over the course of an entire quilt, that can really add up. I also knew from the pattern instructions that I needed to have 5-inch squares and 10-inch squares. And that means I needed a 10-inch piece of fabric, and I could not have it smaller than that. So I didn't want to starch it after I cut my 5-inch squares, and I certainly didn't want to do it before. So I opted to not starch everything. The price that I'm paying for that is this is really flimsy. The fabric has been really flimsy and it's given me a little bit of a struggle, but it's nothing that starch can't fix on the back end. So what I've opted to do is, as I've made my blocks and they're all they are all sewn together, then I'm bringing in some starch. And would you believe I'm not bringing in Best Press? I'm bringing in Faultless, because this stuff is miracle and it's way cheaper than Best Press. So I'm bringing a little bit of Faultless. I don't need nearly as much. It goes a whole lot further. One can lasted me for a couple of months, but I was using it sparingly. I've got another can open here. So I will be using that as we go. What else have I learned? I learned cutting at retreat on a table that is not meant for cutting is not ideal, because you'll notice as you see some, well, this is a bad one. I did this one before I left. Some of these, as I'm putting them together, they are not perfectly, like the pieces are not exactly lined up. And that's because I made some miscuts, because I was at retreat and having too much fun. So I will also have to square these down, but we're going to talk about that when we get into going through all these pieces. I want to make sure that all of my blocks are the same size once everything's sewn together and pressed. And so we'll take a little bit of time to measure the blocks and determine if we need to cut any of them down so everything is a uniform size. All right. Colorado says, hi, Becca and everyone. Hello, Irene. Susan, the quirky hand quilter, says, hello from Central Washington State. Last week was out of town. I was out of town with the All Pacific Northwest Shop Hop. I have been sewing blocks from some of the shops that I've been to. Wonderful. That's great. I'm glad that you had fun with the shop hop. Deb is here and she said her first sew sampler box is shipped. Wonderful. Hey, Sean is here. Hello, Sean. Girl, you know to cut before going. I know, Donna, and I didn't. So shame on me. Shame on me. It's fine. It'll be whatever. All right, let's get to sewing, shall we? I am anxious to see if all of the cameras work the way I would like them to work. So let me know. If anything, everything's going to be good. So I'm just going to pick up all of the pieces. I have all the fabric right sides together, and I'm just going to start sewing with 1/4 of an inch. And that just means that I'm lining up this edge of fabric, you can see right here, with the marking that I know on my machine is going to give me 1/4 inch. It's 1/4 inch away from the tip of the needle. So for me, I know that is the right edge of my presser foot. And since my needle does not move right to left at all, I know that it's always the right edge of my presser foot because the needle is never in the wrong position because it's always there. In fact, if the needle were not in that position, we might have bigger issues. Hey, Carolina. Hello. Hey, did you hit your 100,000 yet, Carolina? Do exclamation selfie in the chat so people can get a link to your channel. Carolina has been a stone's throw away from 100,000 subscribers on her channel, and she is really hoping to get that. Maybe she got it already over the past couple of weeks. I don't know. I haven't checked. But if you could do her solid, pop over there, subscribe to her channel, and I promise you the content she puts out is wonderful. You'll want to keep tabs on what she's doing. If you make weird noises while you sew, I feel like you get more accurate piecing. So definitely encourage the turkey gobble as you go. Not yet, but you're close. Okay, well, everybody needs to pop over and subscribe tonight. Retreat was a blast, you guys. We had a wonderful time. If you have a chance to go to a retreat, I highly recommend it. This was not a paid for retreat. This is not one that's open to the public. This is just a group of friends that got together at the lake to do some sewing and have a wonderful time. And that's all we did. I definitely had a bit of time to just recharge my batteries and get those creative juices flowing again. Because if I'm being 100% honest, I have been in a bit of a lull lately. I've not had any gumption to want to sew, to create, to really do anything. And I think part of it is just this whole, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but I haven't had any sojo. And that retreat helped me get some of it back. So I'm really excited about that. In fact, tonight before the live stream, I wanted to make a little bit more progress on this block or on this quilt. So I had pulled out all of my pieces of fabric and I had Bridgerton up and playing and I was sewing, and this is my face the whole time. It was great. It was great. I had Bridgerton on in the background. I had Ruby humming. I have my lemonade over here. By the way, I have found these flavor packets for water. It's called it's by True Lemon. I think that's the brand, but they make flavored lemonades. They've got traditional lemonade, but then they have like a black cherry limeade and a strawberry lemonade and a peach lemonade, and they are so good. But I have found with flavor packets, when I put them into my water, I think they tell you to put 1 packet in per 20 ounces of water, and this is a 40-ounce mug. Listen, I can't do 2. In fact, I can't do 1 in a 20-ounce thing of water because it is too sweet. It's just so rich. So my trick has been to fill my cup up, probably about with that much ice, and then I put water in from our fridge, which measures out like 35, 32 ounces of water. And then I go in and I add 1 flavor packet, and that flavor packet usually will last me for that cup. And then if I top it off just a little bit, or if I top it off after it's gone down just a little bit, I can usually, maybe about halfway, I can usually get a whole nother cup out of that. The second time is a bit weaker though, just so you know. I need to find my remote. I do this every Friday night. My thermostat, I end up getting warm. It's perfectly normal room temperature in here, but there's something about being on a live stream that you're just like, okay, now I'm sweating. Maybe it's because you're talking nonstop. I don't know, but I had to go get my thermostat so I get that cold air blowing on me. If there are things that Becca doesn't do well, Becca doesn't do hungry and Becca does not do hot. And when you mix the two, forget about it. Although I'm not hungry, but you don't want to see me hot and cranky. I don't feel that fan kicking on. Let me press the fan button a couple of times. There we go. I just heard it. Ah. So what have you guys all been up to over the past couple of weeks? Did you finish the bag with the frustrating zipper? No, I did not. In fact, she's still sitting on the floor behind me. I will finish her probably in the next couple of weeks, but not yet. Donna says, I use half packets in my water. Also, I just want a hint of the flavor. Absolutely, I agree. Hot studio lights? I don't know. They're LEDs, so I would think not, Carolina. But the thing is I don't feel like I have that happen when I'm just recording regular videos. So I don't know. Though I will say, actually, this time I was a bit warmer in here before the live stream, and I had my desk fan on and I turned it off so you didn't have the fan blowing into the microphone during the live stream. And so maybe there wasn't much of a difference. I just didn't have the air blowing on me anymore. Tomorrow, hubby and I are going to have some time together. We're going to go out for crabs. I'm very excited about that. We haven't been out to dinner, just the two of us, in a while, and he asked me if I would like to go out to dinner. In fact, he didn't say that. He said, would you like to go get some crabs? So I'm excited about that tomorrow. Lisbeth says she's been working on Sail Away from Legit Kits. Awesome. Love your whale. Hope you win. Hope I win what, Bill? Love your whale. You like my whale? That's my whale. That is my whale from my very good friend from Retreat. We do this this thing, this group of friends, and do I can't even talk. We do this thing called Secret Friend. And so we all picked a name out of a hat, and the name that we drew is the person that we had to make or shop for. And I was spoiled this year because the person that drew my name made me something beautiful, and I had something gorgeous to look at every morning when I woke up and came down to my sewing table. And the whale quilt that you see hanging up behind me was one of those things. I need to find a place to put it up on my wall in my sewing room. I think actually, you know what? I think I might put it in my bedroom above my vanity. I was looking at the mini quilt that I have on the wall above my vanity this morning as I was getting ready for work. And it's just a simple little cathedral, not little, it's a small quilt, but the pieces are very big. I made them with charm squares. It was supposed to be a cathedral window table runner using the Missouri Star pattern, but I got so frustrated with it after just one block that I gave up and just did the one block and quilted it and finished it. And it's been hanging on the wall in between my two windows since we moved in. But I was looking at it this morning, I was like, I should really replace that with something else. And it just dawned on me, I could put my beautiful whale quilt up there. I'd love to look at that every morning while I'm getting ready for the day. This is the last one that I'm sewing. So after this is done, I am going to grab my leader and ender. I'll snip it off of the front, and then I'm going to sew onto that piece right here. And then I'll cut all of this off, and I'm going to bring in my little thread tool. And I'm just going to, since these are all chain pieced, that means they're all connected. So I'm just going to slice them against the blade that's inside of here. Now my tool is a bit fancier than what you really need. This was a gift from my friend Mary. I bought her one just like this, so we have matching thread cuttery thingies. But you can buy this same thing from a number of different entities. Purple Hobbies, the Gypsy Quilter, all of them have something like this. But Purple Hobbies does have a special code for you. If you put So Becca in at checkout for anything you buy on the website, you're going to get 20% off. So if you are shopping for some 3D printed goodness, hop over there, use the code, and get yourself, treat yourself. Yeah, we'll just say that, treat yourself. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring all of these over here and I'm going to press the seam while it's closed. In fact, I bet I could just bring it up here. I just need a minute to shift things around. Let me put this on the table behind me. Ah, stop it. Stay. And then I can put my pressing mat up here. And then you don't have to look at the side of my face. The side of my face. Set this here for now, pick up this mess, do this, go back to that 3-cam. There we go. So this is what I'm going to do. I am pressing this seam to kind of set it and relax those fibers. And then I'm going in with my fingers and pushing it over and then giving that a nice little press. Then once that's done, starchy, starchy, starchy. You know how Laura Lynn from Mama Pop Quilt Shop has the theme song that she sings whenever she brings out the seam ripper? If you guys don't know who she is, go check her out. I feel like I need to have a starch theme song. Starchy, starchy, starchy. I don't know what it would be. Right now, I guess it's just starchy, starchy, starchy. Because, man, I love this stuff. I just like how much body it gives to your fabric and how it can reduce some of the stretchiness and the bias edges. Ooh, Joss Craft Journey says, I'm going to the quilt show in Paducah, Kentucky this week. I am going with a bus from a fabric shop. Wonderful. Have fun. Take lots of pictures. Oh my goodness. Cindy says, hi Becca, I started doing English paper piecing with hexagons. Wonderful. I love that. It can be a little addicting. Just saying. There's something soothing about listening to the iron. Can you guys hear it? Just barely, right? Oh, look at that. So pretty. And if nothing else, this lets you get to admire the fabric that's going into the quilt. Beverly says, I almost forgot you were on. Well, you made it. You made it. Alicia says she is hooked on EPP. She took one of the EPP classes that I taught at Holly Quilt Shop a few weeks ago, and she is all in. She keeps sending me pictures of her of her fabric and her EPP getting started. She's just making hexagons right now, just enjoying life. Oh no, Sheila says that she has been where she's at for 32 years and she is moving and has so much to go through. Becca, may I ask why you didn't press to the dark fabric? Because I didn't. There's no reason other than just that's the direction the fabric wants to go. You don't always have to do everything that the patterns tell you to do. Because the border strip that I'm pressing under is such a small piece of fabric, the seam wants to go under that rather than coming back under the bigger piece of fabric, just because there's not a lot of it here. I don't know why that is. I'm making this up as I go, but I do know that the fabric just wants the seam to go underneath that. So that's what I'm doing. Susan says she loves her mini Aliso iron. She bought it at the Sew Expo. Oh, water damage. I am so sorry. Debbie says, hi, Becca. I don't know if you heard, another quilt shop is closing in Huntsville. Southern Charm. Wait, which one was Southern Charm? Was that the one at the front of the shop it had the long arm and a couple of machines, and then you went to the back of the shop for fabric, and then beyond that was a classroom section? It was in a building by itself. Yeah, let's do a couple of giveaways. If we've got packages, Mary, we can do a couple of giveaways, but let's wait until about 9:30 to do those, or maybe 9:15. Actually, you can do one now if you want. We'll do one now. We'll do one at 8:45, and then another one maybe at 9:15. Thank you. You like them? Barbara Jean said, my nails look fabulous. Thank you. Well, there we go. We'll do it right there. Thanks. I'm fond of them. Pressing to the dark will disguise the seam and any contrasting fabric that may peek out, but pressing towards the outside of the block can help your block from keep from your what Carolina said. I can't read. Yeah, you're right, Carolina. She said pressing is one of those I before E except after C. You have a rule that you must follow, except not all the time. And in this case, I know that these seams aren't going to nest with anything, so I don't really have to be super particular about it. And it's going to be a quilt that will be loved and cherished. And oh, by the way, the back side of this, the layer cake, all of these edges are pinked, so they're not fraying. So I don't have to worry about any loose colored threads getting under that white fabric. So I feel like I'm pretty safe. I forgot to set that seam before I flipped it over, so we'll hope it works out well. Oh, there it goes. The giveaway is live. Also, while the giveaway is live, I can talk to you about my next virtual class, my next virtual workshop. So I will be doing a table runner class. I think it's May 9th. The listing is going to go up on the website this weekend. Alicia will have all the details for you there, but it will include a copy of my new table runner pattern for free. You can buy the pattern if you want, but if you buy the pattern, you're not going to get access to the class. But if you buy the class, then you'll get a copy of the pattern for free. Plus, you'll get the video replay in case you can't make the class session. She's got all the details for you once the chat slows down if you're interested. Oh, I love this one. I like there's something about strawberries on fabric that I just love. this one's really pretty too. Like, I don't like yellow very much, but I like this yellow. Victoria says, I just got my 99K after I did a good clean and a dear friend made me a carrying case. It works like a dream. Perfect stitches. I had to adjust how fast she goes and she hums like Ruby. I love the sound of a vintage machine. I'm telling you. I love the sound of a vintage machine. In fact, I love the sound of a vintage machine so much so that Ruby now sits here proudly, permanently affixed into her cabinet. She's not really permanently affixed, but she stays put. And when I go to classes or retreats where I'm going to need a machine, I take Pearl, my featherweight, with me. So I'm fresh back from a week of sewing on my featherweight. I really need to pull her out and do more with her, which is why in a couple of weeks, Ian and I can't remember the actual date. It'll be after he comes back from his trip at the end of the month. He's got a personal trip coming up. So I think it's in May sometime. He's going to join me on a Friday night and we're going to pull out our featherweights and we're going to do a jelly roll race together on our featherweights. So if you have a vintage machine that's just hanging out and it's not getting any love, now is the time to pull it out and we're all going to do a little vintage sew together. The yellow looks like lace. It does, doesn't it, Joyce? Here's another strawberry fabric. Oh, so pretty. This whole line has got me. And I know it's out of print. I know the layer cake. I think the layer cake I got from Linda's Country Quilt Shop while I was in Michigan. And it was the last one. And I was just like, oh, that's pretty. It's mine. And I brought it home. And look at me. I've only been home for a month since that trip, and I'm already using the layer cake up. I'm so proud of myself. Look at me. Oh, you know what I did do? Uh-oh, I did a thing, you guys. I did a bad thing. While I was at retreat, the Soya Brothers did a flash sale for Tula Pink's Floral Reef, and I might have splurged and got myself a 1-yard bundle. Just saying. Caroline's 416 says, I have a Rowenta iron with a chrome plate and starch gums it up. I have to clean it weekly if I use Faultless. Should I get a different iron to go with my spray starch? Oh, well, I've been using Faultless on this entire project. So it's been 2 weeks, although I was at retreat for a good bit of it. And that's what the sole plate looks like right now. It is a little dusty, but it's not gummed up. So should you get another iron? I don't know if you need to get another one, but I do like my Aliso. I also like the Panasonic cordless iron as well. I take that one with me to retreat, so we have a full-size iron to use, and then I have another mini Aliso that my friends over at Aliso gave me, and I use that as a travel iron for my little station. So both of them work beautifully. Since my pressing mat where I sit doesn't have a lot of room on it and it's not intended to press yardage, these smaller irons are just perfect for a quick press of a seam and moving on. If I need to do anything bigger, I do try to get up and go over to my pressing station where I can do yardage and bigger blocks. Jenna says, I was watching the sale when I saw you bought Floral Reef. I was so excited to see your name. Yeah, sometimes, congratulations. Sometimes you have to spoil yourself. Listen, I love, I'm really appreciating the color palettes that she uses. And I know they're not for everybody. I know not everybody likes brights, but I've really been into the bright colors lately. And I love her artwork. But I also really love ocean life, like marine life. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. So this one was right up my alley. I knew I was going to have to buy a bundle of it once it started going on sale. And so when they showcased it, I was like, okay, I've got to get a bundle of it. But I was watching on internet that was really slow. And so when I put in the number the first time, I thought I was putting in the number for a 1 yard bundle, but it was for a half yard bundle. And that wasn't going to get it. So I changed it to a 1 yard bundle. I'm really excited. Hopefully it should be here in the next week or two. Jacqueline says, Linda's is a great shop. I haven't gone lately though. I haven't needed anything and it's at least an hour away. Give starch a few minutes to sink in and let it dry. It doesn't clog the iron as much. Oh, that's a good idea. Did I do that? Nope. Ooh, Georgia. She said, I got my Tula while at the So Yeah retreat. Video does not do it justice. I can't wait. Heather said, nobody told me there was sea serpents in that line. Sea snakes. There's snakes? Great. Great. All right. My next step, and for my next trick, we're going to put my ironing mat back. We're going to get a cutting mat out and we're going to square all of these up to the same size. And then once that's done, I don't know. I know I said I was going to get this done on a live stream, but you guys, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done on a live stream. We'll see. We'll see how I feel after I get everything squared up. The reason why I'm saying that is because I might want to be strategic in how I'm laying things out. And I don't really have a place to do that over here that's going to be easy for me to work on. But you know what I do have? I have some paper towels and some 409 and I've got starch all over my table. You guys, I have been seeing these two guys dressed in, I think it's drag, but I don't know if they're just, I don't know if they're, I don't know, whatever. I might not be using the right pronouns, but these two individuals are on Instagram and they're like sitting there with their nails and they're watching like a video or a reel on their phone, and then it cuts them and they go, and then they set their phone down and they come over and they make a drink or something. And it's all about, they don't say a dang thing, but they're like clinking everything. And it's a little ridiculous because every time they sprinkle just a little bit on the counter, one of them sprays and then the other one wipes, but always holds their dress just like this. And they're like, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you really, you just think I'm being weird right now. But that's what this reminds me of. Let me just do my wiping. Except they have like 100 different bracelets on, and so you can hear the clink, clink, clink. Do you use Becca Sews as your name on Sew Yet? No, I use Sew Becca. I don't know who Becca Sews is. That's not me. Do you have an affiliate link for Faultless? We can get you one. Alicia will give you one. If you would like the link in your inbox, you can email me at info@sewbecca.com. We'll get that link over to you. I'm trying to read all of the chat. Donna's asking, I've forgotten, what model is your Ruby? She is a 1951 Singer 301 short bed. The Goddess is on YouTube. Yes, Jennifer, yes. That's what they reminded me of. Okay, I need a cutting mat that's going to be big enough to handle all that. So let me go grab a cutting mat really quick, and then we will continue the Lord's work. Trying to find the right one. I think this is the one we're going to use. My nose itches. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's warped. Oh, wah wah. Hold on, let me see if I can find one that I go through cutting mats so stinking much. I do. I guess Oh, there's the other one. That one's going to get tossed. Here's the one that I had at retreat. I'll bring this one out. My Caterpillar one's over there too, but that's bigger than what I need and I don't want to unfold it. It's folded down right now. So we're going to use this one. This is perfect for the space. I did a great impression. You knew exactly who I was talking about. All right, so the struggle that I'm going to have with all of these blocks is they are not all created equal. They are all varying different sizes, and so I need to get them down to the same size. So I'm pretty sure that these are closer to being the size that they need to be rather than the other ones. So I'm going to set these aside and I'm going to look at these. Terry says, I thought I'd missed the live tonight with all the traffic. Fry, yay! Hello, I'm glad you're here. So none of these, you can see they're not all the same size. So I need to think for a moment on how I'm going to handle this. And I'm processing it in my head as I go. You've probably already figured out what to do, but I'm talking to you and getting my things and running the tech and trying to figure this out at the same time. So I'm a solo woman show, whatever. I'm going to measure this from this edge to this edge, not these edges. And I just want to see what that's going to come out to. I'm using my tape measure for this. That is right at 13. And now I'm going to measure the other way. And that is just shy of 13. Okay. Let's take a look at the pattern and see what it says those blocks should have measured. They should have been at 13. Okay, makes sense. I'm willing to bet that most of these are not going to be 13. I'm going to find the smallest size. We're going to use my mat to measure just to make it go quicker. I'm going to find the smallest size, and that's what we're going to square them to. This one is just over 13 a little bit, so this is 13. This one was a little bit smaller, so we'll keep that in a different pile. I'm going to move this over and we'll look. I'm going to line it up. This one is shy of 13 by about 1/4 of an inch in some areas. Okay, so right now we're looking at 12 3/4 is our smallest size. This is not that. 12 3/4. This is bigger than that, but not by much. I'm just looking to see if anything is smaller than 12 3/4. And so far, I'm seeing no. Oh, right there is close, but it's not quite at 3/4. So 12 3/4 is still the smallest. Rita, thank you for being a channel perks holder for 5 months. And Susan for 15. Woohoo! That one was not less than 12 3/4. This one is not less than 12 3/4. This one is not less than 12 3/4. Nope, not less than the 12 3/4. This is way bigger than 13 right there. And this doesn't look like it was pressed good, but it is. That block needs some help. But it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. 12 and, ooh, that is more than 12 3/4. That is probably like 12 5/8. So we're going to look at all of these and see if any of them are smaller than 12 5/8. Does this make you feel a little bit better now that you're seeing how wonky my blocks are? See, my stuff is not perfect, so don't worry about yours being perfect either. Just enjoy the making process. Okay, I've measured all of these, and the smallest one that I have is like just over 12 1/2, which means All of these, if I'm going to square them down, need to be squared down to the same size. And I'm leaning towards squaring everything to 12.5. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. But before we do, I want to measure these and just make sure that none of these are smaller than 12.5. They shouldn't be. That one is not. That one is not. I'll just set these here after I measure them. That one is not. That one is not. That is not. That is not. I have a feeling none of these are going to be smaller than 12.5. The more seams you put into something, the more chance you have to mess it up. Awesome! Kathy said she got floral reef too, and she is so excited. Awesome! We'll have to do something with it when I get it. Instead of just putting it on the shelf. I may have also bought a Vegas strip, so that's probably what I'll work with. Oh, Mary Poppins, you are practically perfect in every way. Floral reef. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. Autocorrect got me when I typed it into the chat. So yeah, too. And they're like, it's not called coral reef. It's floral reef. I was like, I know. It was autocorrect. Okay. And then the last one. Yep, okay. So I can square all these down to 12.5 as well, and everything should be good. So when I do this, it is going to mean all of my blocks are the same size, which will make it easier to put together, but it means that my quilt is going to be a bit smaller than what the pattern calls for, and I'm okay with that. I'd rather have smaller blocks that are easier to put together and a smaller quilt overall than to deal with wonky blocks and have the quilt top be a mess. Besides, if I want the quilt to be bigger, I can always add borders or add, whether they're just solid fabric or a pieced border or whatever it's going to be. So here is how I am going to square these up. First, I'm going to find a rotary cutter. Uh-oh. Do I have a rotary cutter? I don't know. I have one over here. I'll get this one. I have one at my desk all the time. I just must have put it in my scrap basket, which is my catch-all, and it is overflowing, let me tell you. But I have the one from my big cutting table, so we're going to use this. So, 12.5. This is what we're going to do. I'm thinking about doing that with black as a background. Wonder if that, I think it would look great. It just depends on the fabric that you're picking. So I want this to be 12.5, which means from the dead center, I'm going to measure 6.5 inches over away from all of the center pieces to get that 12.5. I don't have a big 12.5 inch square to put down, so I'm going to have to do this manually. The problem with that is I need to figure out the center of this strip. So I'm going to measure that strip. It is 1 inch. It's 1 inch. So the halfway point is a 1/2 inch in. So let's see if we can do it this way. 6 1/4 needs to be in the middle of that strip, which means 5 3/4 is that seam because it's 1/2 inch shy. And then once I've got that lined up, I'm going to look at a couple other things to keep it kind of straight. I'm going to make sure that my seams are laying on grid lines on my ruler, especially this one going right up the middle. That's going to help make the block stay straight. And then once I'm sure everything's good, I will clean off this side. I'm going to lift my ruler and continue that cut so that I can make sure that everything is good. I'm going to go right through here. And I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. I'm going to do the same thing. So we're going to do 5 1/4 from right there. Now my sashing is a little wonky. That's okay. It is what it is. The other thing that I'm going to look at now is because this edge that I just cut is now a straight edge, I should be able to line up that clean edge on one of the guidelines on my ruler, and that's going to give me a perfect 90-degree right here on the block. So I'm going to check to make sure my 6 1/4 is going through the middle of the block. I've got it lined up at the bottom, and then I'm just going to push my rotary cutter through most of the way. Once I get close to the top of the ruler, I'm going to lift the ruler up, line up the edge of the ruler with that cut edge of fabric, and just continue slicing through there to get that clean edge. And then we'll rotate 90 degrees one more time. And we're going to do the same thing. We said 5 3/4 for the outside, 6 1/4 in the middle, and slice through. Now, there are a number of different ways that you could be doing this. You could do it the way I'm doing it. You also, if you had a small ruler at your disposal, which I do believe I have right here, you can butt 2 rulers up next to each other, so you can just take one cut. I'll show you what that looks like. So line up my clean edge on the bottom there, make sure that my 6 1/4 is in the middle, my 5 3/4 is on that seam. Then I'm just going to lay this together and make sure that these 2 pieces are flush together. And now I can go through the entire thing. And now I've got my block nice and clean. My seam here is a little bit wonky, but by the time this is all quilted up and done, you're not going to notice it. Somebody's asking in the chat, you don't have a 12.5-inch square ruler? I actually don't. I have a 10.5-inch square ruler, and then the next size that I have, 16.5 inches. And yes, that would work for this. I could absolutely do that, but I don't want to measure, I don't want to struggle with a 16.5-inch ruler on this cutting mat while I'm doing this work. So we're just going to do that. We're just going to do that. Now I want to show you, because I'm going to probably do a lot of this off camera, I want to show you how I'm going to recover with these. So these blocks were a bit closer to being the 13 inches, but they're still off. I need them to be 12.5 when it's all said and done. And so I know that this middle piece is going to be 10 or 9.5 inches when it's all put together. Yep, there's 9.5 inches from seam to seam, and then 9.5-ish inches from seam to seam. So I know that's good. I'm probably going to need to just take some off of the side. So if I need this to be 12.5, that means, I'm doing the math in my head, I'm probably going to need 1 1/4 off of, or 1 1/4 on each of the borders. Let me just think through that. So 9.5 plus 1 1/4, 1 1/4, 1 1/4, and 1 1/4 is 2.5. 9.5 plus 2.5 is going to get me 12. So that's not right. It's going to need to be 1.5 inches out here. So 1.5 and 1.5 is 3 inches. And then 9.5 is 12.5. Okay. So what I'm going to do is lay down my ruler so that the 1.5-inch mark is right on the seam between the white and that pretty print fabric. And I'm just going to cut all the way through. I will rotate 90 degrees. I will line up the 1.5-inch mark on my ruler with that seam. I will also make sure that the clean edge is lined up with the bottom of my ruler or registration mark, and then my seams here are both good. And at this point, I could also just do the calculation really quick to make sure that this is 9.5 inches finished, just in case I'm worried that maybe the block in the middle is smaller than it should be. I want to make sure that this is going to be 12.5 when it's all done. Now, the other way that you could be doing this, absolutely, because somebody out there is probably already asking, why can't you just square it up with your mat? You can. You can if you want to. I'm not squaring it up with my mat because I want to be able to see where all the fabric is landing, and it's just easier for me to use my ruler. I feel like I'm more efficient cutting with my ruler than I am with my mat. But you do whatever makes you comfortable. All right. We need to change this rotary cutter blade. And that's going to be my 12.5-inch piece. Now, I'm not going to put those two together. I am going to trim this one, and I'm going to start piecing these together. So we're going to square this one down, and I'll put it next to this really pretty blue one. Gamma says, I could never do math that fast. It definitely takes a bit of getting used to do it while you're doing a million other things. Okay, 6 1/4 is in the middle, 5 3/4 is on the edge, and my seams are lined up with the ruler. I'm going to put my, stop moving. Okay, put my small ruler up here so I have a nice seamless piece. I'm just going to use my arm to hold everything down. I'm going to slice right through all of that, pull it off, rotate 90 degrees. 6 1/4 is what we're trying to put in the middle. 5 3/4 is that seam. And then we're also trying to make sure everything else stayed nice and straight. Good deal, McBeal. I'll trim the last 2 sides. I will then sew these together, and then I have got Alicia's giveaway that I need to do something with tonight. Why did my computer monitor just turn off? Hello? There it goes. My computer monitor went into sleepy mode. That was not nice. 5 3/4 right there. I will have to turn off whatever setting is in there to make the monitor go to sleep. And last one, 6 1/4, 5 3/4. Line up all of my straight edges. Now, if I've done all of this correctly, then, moment of truth, my block, this block and this block should be the same size. Look at that, they are awesome. So now I'm going to sew these two together, and however I do the rest of the layout, these two pieces are going to be forever married. They cannot get divorced unless I get the seam ripper out. All right, so now I'm just going to put these right sides together. I'm going to line up my corners and then make sure that my raw edges are all nice and lined up, and then I'll bring this over to my sewing machine and just sew it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way down. And that is what we're going to do. So as we're putting this together, let's look at the pattern really quick so we know what we're going to be doing. I'm going to go back to that overhead. I'll pull in the pattern. When we put our quilt together, we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows, and each of those 7 rows is going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks in them. Your odd rows are going to start with that plus, and your even rows are going to start with a square. So just kind of remember that when you're making these, you want to do some of them some of them starting with the plus and some of them starting with the square. Once you've done that and you've sewed them together, then my recommendation is going to be to press towards this square. You follow what the pattern says if you'd like, but my recommendation is going to be to press it towards this square all the time, because since these are never stacked on top of one another and they're going kind of in like a catty corner cascading way, that means that every seam is going to be pressed this way, which means that this seam is going to be able to nest a little bit nicer. Now, these probably won't nest. They might stack on top of each other, and that's okay. I'm not looking to nest to reduce bulk because there's really not going to be a lot of bulk there. The reason why I'm looking to nest those seams is so that the bulks will meet up like a puzzle next to each other, and it'll just make sure that my blocks are all perfectly lined when I'm putting them together. So I'll make all of my rows and then I'll nest the seams, pin those, and then sew the rows together. So that is what I am going to do off camera. But before I do all of that, we need to go do a little special thing. So for those of you that don't know, my sister has a bunch of fat quarters that she's been looking to give away. And she had a drawing on the website. You had to go to the website and fill out the entry form. And if you did, then your name was put into a lottery. And she did a screen capture of her picking the winner. So she's not in the video, but she screen recorded from her phone all of the entries and a wheel spinning. So I'm going to play that for you right now, and we're going to reveal the winners. And I say winners plural because she picked 2. So let's go over and watch those winners be selected. All right, so you can see it up here in the corner. The wheel is spinning, and the first winner is Kim Johnson. Now, she has Kim Johnson's email address and all that other stuff, so she'll reach out to Kim and let Kim know that she won. And now the second one is going to be Angelisa Romanello. Again, she has Angelisa's contact information, so she will reach out to Angelisa and make sure all of that gets gone. And then it was just starting to play over. You're just going to see Kim Johnson get picked again. So those are the 2 winners of Alicia's fabric. Alicia will be reaching out to both of them, coordinating, mailing all of the items, and that's that. All right. I am looking at the chat to see what else we have. We're going to have another giveaway in about 10 minutes. If you want to go ahead and start that now, Mary, I'm through with my project sewing. I'm just going to sit and chat with people here. And if you want to start one and just give them like 5 or 10 minutes, then we can pick a winner or 2 from that one. And I'll leave that up to you, how many we pick. Tracy, don't worry. There's another giveaway coming. We're going to do it. Mary's going to get it started in just a moment. In the meantime, Kathy says, thank you, Mary. Lots of folks trying to enter now. Got me confused. Easy, I know. No worries, no worries. And there goes the next one. Oh no, somebody's tornado sirens are going off. Melissa, go seek shelter. You can always watch the replay later. We'd rather you be safe. Oh, she said, I'm watching from the basement, so I'm good for now. Stay safe. Stay safe. I hope it's just a precaution and not something that really is going to be whatever. I can't even talk. Done sewing for the night, but chatting is fun. Well, I mean, it is after 9 o'clock and I've had a long week. So I think I'm done sewing for this project for tonight. I mean, if nothing else, I got to sit here and square stuff up. So, okay, we will have 3 packages picked from this one. So however long she's got this going for, if you have not typed exclamation giveaway, you are missing out. Go do it. Go do it now. Oh my gosh, just pages. Will you be coming to H&H? No, Carolina, not this year. I can't talk about it yet, but maybe I can tell you next week because it's not ready to be public. But I've got some stuff at work that is definitely going to limit my vacation time. I already knew that was going to be the case, so I've been limiting my travel and coordinating it around days off at work as much as I can, except for the stuff that I'm already committed to. So And the siren stopped. Awesome! I'm glad that the siren stopped. Wisconsin has had several confirmed tornadoes today. Yeah, but no, H&H is not on my list for this year, but it is on my list of places that I want to try to get to next year. So I don't know what that looks like. In fact, H&H goes over the course of a weekend, doesn't it? Maybe I will go, but not for the entire thing. Maybe I'll just go for a day. My sister lives in Michigan. It's like a 4-hour drive to Chicago. I think that's around her birthday too. Don't know if you saw my other message, but I can send you a sample pack of, wow, yes! Yes, I want to play along. I want to play along. Send it to me. Send it to me. Yes, please. It's Tuesday through Friday. Oh, man. Why can't they make it go like Tuesday through Saturday? Let me think on that. I'll look up the dates. Maybe I can take one day off. I do know your birthday. It's May 21st. Silly. Deb says Iowa has had some bad weather this last week. Oof. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so that's a lukewarm maybe on the samples. Yeah, it's a lukewarm maybe. Maybe. You're always launching something fun. Pat says, hey, Becca and all, joining late, just got home from dinner with friends. Hello, Pat. Are you going to shop hop locally? Nita, yes, I will be doing a shop hop in Northern Virginia. It's the Mid-Atlantic shop hop, I think is what they call it. I don't know what shops we're going to go to yet. Last year we did it with Mary and Alicia and Ian, and we focused on the shops that were kind of to the west. And I think this year I'd like to focus on the shops that are more to the east. So there's some over in Maryland and stuff that we never even got to last year. So it'd be nice if we can get to those this year. I will also be doing the shop hop in Michigan with Alicia. So Juneteenth is a holiday for us. I am planning to fly in probably June 18th in the evening after work. And then since the Friday is a holiday, I'll spend Friday and Saturday with her and then come back on Sunday. Oh, wow. This year's May 21st is my husband and mine's 54th anniversary. Congratulations, Judy. That's a wonderful milestone to celebrate. Ooh, Donna gets to label some quilts that she entered at her guild's quilt show. Becca, if you haven't been to the one in Remington, it is so cute. Remington, Virginia is, what's the name of that one? Because I feel like that sounds very familiar. Nita says they moved us out of Mid-Atlantic. Where are you at, Nita? What state are you in? Looking to see if there are any other questions. It goes so fast that it's hard to keep up with them. Hello, Margot. She says, hi there. Hello. Alicia's trying to tell everybody that her birthday is a national holiday. No, it's not. Oh, Virginia. Virginia is not part of the Mid-Atlantic shop hop. It's just a Virginia shop hop now. Oh. Jay Kiss and Hug says, I did the shop hop southeast region of Michigan all by myself. Oh, no. Rose Anderson said, what quilt retreat did you attend, Becca? It wasn't a quilt retreat that you can pay to go to. It was just a group of friends that got together at an Airbnb on a lake. And we all happened to sew. Quilters Mercantile in Remington. Yeah, I did stop there. It was cute. I bought because it had more than just fabric, right? Is that the one I'm thinking of? It was like a little gift shop in a cute little town. I think we did stop there last year. Virginia is now part of the Blue Ridge Shop Hop. Oh, Tell me more about the Blue Ridge Shop Hop. What states are included in that? Are the Carolinas included in that? They took Pennsylvania off of VA. Sorry, I'm sad. They kicked you out. We'll miss you. Jonathan's like, they kicked you out. Bye. Oh, geez. Lynn says fabric and fiber, the consumer part of H&H is April 30th to May 3rd, so some weekend days. That's too soon for me to go because that's only like a week and a half away. Rhonda says, hey, Becca, I was blessed with a large tub of fabric and squares, so trimming them down to my sizes. Ooh, North Carolina is in the Blue Ridge Shop Hop? Karen says, I did 5 Florida shop hop stops on my way home from the lake. Karen is part of my friend group that I go to the lake with. I've known her for years. In fact, she's the reason I get to do my Alabama retreat because that was her group. So it's very special to me because she drives all the way up from Florida to meet us at the lake in Virginia. So it's quite a journey for her, but I really appreciate that she's there. And I like being able to spend a week with her every year. I do a friends and family retreat at a Bible camp every October. So right before COVID, was it before COVID? After COVID? I think before COVID. I don't know. It was in a March. I think it was right before COVID. We had, with the church that I was at in Arlington, we did a women's retreat at a retreat center in Delaware, I want to say. It was gorgeous. It was right on the water. Oh, so beautiful. And across the hall from our women's group, there was a great big, there were like 2 or 3 rooms, and these ladies were just hopping from room to room to room all weekend long. They were doing a scrapbooking retreat. And I remember thinking, oh, that's a really good idea. I had never, that was a really good idea. Margot says, wow, the video quality is amazing. You like the glasses reflecting in my eyes because I'm sitting back? And thank you. Tech makes things work a little bit better, doesn't it? There's a fabric part across the street. Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, that one's cute. I think I get that one now. Always. She's talking about the Quilters Mercantile in Remington. Deb says the Quilted Forest here in Iowa does a retreat twice a year at a Bible camp. They have the space. It was nice because this women's retreat center, they served you meals too. So you got up and you went into the cafeteria and they had breakfast, lunch, and dinner for you. And then you went to your assigned room to do whatever retreat, study, crafting, whatever you were there to do. And then everybody had the rooms were really nice. I got a private room because I don't like to share rooms if I don't have to, but they were very intentional about not putting TV or anything in the rooms because they wanted you to devote your time to your scripture study. You were there most of us were there for Bible retreat, so they wanted you to focus on that rather than getting drawn into TV. Giveaway is getting ready to end. Stay tuned. Mary is going to pull some winners. I think she said she's going to pull 3 from this one. The first one looks like it's Deborah Moss 6987. So make sure to type in the chat, Deborah. We just want to make sure we see that you're here. And while you're doing that, I'll read Susan's comment. She says, I have finished 3 regions so far in the All Pacific Northwest Shop Hop. Partially done with 3 more, and we'll do the region that covers Southwest Washington and Northwest corner of Oregon, plus the Idaho Panhandle. Wow, that is a lot. Rhonda says the Texas Shop Hop is winding down. Some ladies have clocked 7,000 miles covering all 144 shops. Yeah, the little emoji that she put in the chat, that's my face right now. Gina says, I love the Quilted Force videos. I hope to go to one of their retreats. M. Smith has said this a couple times now, and I'm going to read it because I've missed it both times, but I did see it go by. She said that she's sewing 200 snowball corners. Good grief. You are dedicated. I start to get really, I lose interest on a project when I have to do the same step all the time. So finding a YouTube channel or somebody that's doing something live or has a video on replay or a series that I like watching, like Bridgerton right now, that's my go-to for when I've got to do just like that same thing over and over and over again. The Texas shop hop. Heather says the Texas shop hop is insane. It sounds like it. Oh no. Joe Robbins says my phone is acting up. Everything looks like x-rays. Oh no, restart your phone. Amash is going to be all mid-Atlantic shop hop. He said it's going to be such a mess this year. Oof. So Deborah Moss did reply that she is here. So Mary, you can go ahead and pull that second winner. I told Mary that because she might go to Michigan with me in June. We're still trying to figure that out. But if she does go, I told her for the Michigan shop hop, we should do a challenge where we only buy like fat quarters from all the shops that we go to. And we can only buy like maybe 5 fat quarters from each shop just to keep our budget tidy. And then like we can figure out how many shops we're going to go to and then determine how many fat quarters we're going to buy. But then we can bring those fat quarters home and use just those fat quarters in a quilt and nothing else. No background, no nothing. I think that would be a fun challenge. Wayne Jordan has won the second prize. So we're just looking to see if Wayne Jordan is in the chat. If you could just type something so Mary can see you. Death Diablo, interesting name. Can I ask a backing question? I made a 3-yard quilt for a friend's son that has astronauts and spaces on the front. What would you all do for the back? Random? I would, depending on how old the son is, minky would be nice because it's really soft and cuddly. And it also depends on how big the quilt is. I would imagine if it's a 3-yard quilt, it's plenty small enough that you could do minky on the back. You could find just a minky that has a color from the front that you want to reinforce, or maybe his favorite color. You could put that on the back as well. But I would lean towards the minky. They finalized the fabric for the all Mid-Atlantic shop hop before they took Virginia off, so it still has Virginia on it. Georgia McCroy says, minky back is always great. Deanna Jewell says, make a list to buy, like 2 fat quarters, 1 fabric. Oh, I like that idea. Make it like a scavenger hunt. Oh, what if we made like bingo cards for all of us and our job was to like scavenger hunt and find all of those, but we can't find them all at like maybe if we're only going to 6 shops, I'm making this up, and there's 30 things on there, you can't do more than 5 at one shop, so that you can't go into shop number 1 and get everything on the list. That would be fun. Make it a game. Judy says, I definitely have ADHD. I get tired of doing the same thing for very long. I have so many works in progress and flit from one to the other. I have been called a squirrel because I flit so much. Hey, listen, Judy, you and me. You and me. You and me. Pat, you won. Pat won. Yay! Pat's our final winner for tonight. Awesome. Let's just make sure Pat is still here with us. Joan says, I did a dark blue small stars on the back of my space quilt my granddaughter and I did for her friend. That's awesome. Teth Diablo says, imagine doing the bingo card idea and then you pass it to the next person as you enter the store. I like it. Barbara's saying, Becca, what is that round thing on your table? What round thing? Oh, this this. That's a faultless starch. Is that what you were talking about? Kathy says, hi, I'm a little late, but very happy to finally make it live. Love what you're doing. Thank you. All right, so those are all of our winners tonight. Sweet. We got 3 winners plus 1 earlier, so 4 winners. And then we had the 2 winners from late. Man, we are just giving out fabric left and right tonight. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Enjoy the fabric or whatever is coming your way. All right, friends, it is 9:30. I am sorry, Kathy, you just popped in. Or yeah, Kathy, I'm sorry you just popped in, but I am about to pop out because it's 9:30. I've worked on my project. And now I want to go relax and rein in the weekend with a little bit of Fortnite with my friends. I will be live next week. This project will be done, so you'll want to make sure to tune in next week. At the top of the live stream, you will see this project finished. I have no clue what I'm going to work on next week, but I can tell you this. It's going to use mini charms. So feel free to grab a charm pack and cut it up into 2.5-inch square, grab some scraps, or just bring a mini charm pack or 2. And I'll see you guys all next Friday. Bye, friends.